I've decided to delete all of my productivity apps and go back to the basics. This might sound weird if you followed me for any period of time because a number of years ago I dove deep into Notion and started building my own productivity tools within that platform. And it was really great because there were holes in other productivity tools that I just couldn't find solutions for. So I went down the rabbit hole of building my own tools within Notion, and it was really great until it wasn't. You see, I found myself constantly implementing new features and trying out new things, and it got to the point where I was redoing things within Notion so that I can implement these new features, and I was really wasting a lot of time. All the tools that I had built were great and they served their purpose, but at the expense of me spending a lot of time thinking about them, reworking them, and getting frustrated when a new feature would come out that resulted in me having to go and kind of restructure everything. So during 2024, I definitely felt a lot of fatigue and knew that something needed to change. But as the year progressed, I found myself wanting simpler tools. So in this video, I'm going to talk about what I did and why, because if you're feeling the same kind of fatigue, maybe it's time for you to make some changes as well. First, let's talk about choice paralysis and feature overload. As I alluded to at the beginning of this video, I spent too much time chasing the new features and desiring to implement all of them because, hey, if it's a new feature, it must be useful, right? And so I'd spend a lot of time trying to implement those new features into my setup, and sometimes that meant going down a rabbit hole of reconfiguring everything so that the new feature could be useful. I felt like I was getting lost in the endless opportunity of customization, and I found myself asking why I'm bothering, especially when I wasn't fully utilizing a lot of those new features. I think with software these days, most productivity features are just solutions looking for problems. So the next reason is the hidden cost of poor integration. You see, as a Notion user, I wanted to be able to get into the app and utilize it quickly without having to dig around. And Notion has never really been that good with their widgets or their mobile experience. And so I found myself jumping around between devices or spending a lot of extra time getting to different areas within Notion that was eating up a lot of my time. There are other apps that have great widget experiences, but I found that Apple Reminders has a really good widget experience that makes it easy for me to see what's coming up and what needs to be taken care of, whether I'm on my iPhone, iPad, or even my Apple Watch. So Apple also has their ecosystem advantage. They create their apps to work across their ecosystem, and they don't have to worry about other devices, other manufacturers, Windows devices, Android, and all of that stuff. They just focus on their apps working well across their devices. And they do just that. When I want to use a widget, it works. When I create a task on one device, it's there on the other device. When I reconfigure something on one device, it's that way on another device as well. And the experience is consistent across all of those devices. I can also take advantage of Spotlight Search, which searches within the apps and can find information for me, and a lot of other apps just simply can't utilize that. I've also found iCloud Sync to be more reliable and faster at syncing across all of my devices. Then there's escaping subscription fatigue. Everything has a cost and everything is getting more and more expensive. Whether it's the monthly subscription fee or the new add-ons for different features, it's getting more and more expensive to use these different applications, and not all of them solve every single problem. So you need one subscription for this, another subscription for that. And before you know it, you're paying $30, $40, $50, even more dollars every single month for a suite of subscription apps to accomplish the bare minimum things that you typically could do at no cost with Apple Notes and Reminders. Now, I believe that there's power in simplicity. Yes, Apple Reminders and Apple Notes are missing a ton of features compared to what Notion, Evernote, Todoist, ClickUp, all of these different tools, they're missing a lot of those features. And Apple Notes and Reminders aren't designed to be competitors even with those tools. Those tools have a lot more features, and some of those features may be useful depending on your circumstances. But personally, I found the allure of implementing new features and trying to make the most out of these subscription tools to actually end up slowing me down, and I wanted to avoid that. Sometimes it's better to have a lack of features and make the most out of the simple tools that are available. There are tons of minimalist style apps on the App Store that do very well, and they are simplified versions of tools that have become too complex. I've also seen a minimalist movement start to take place within the Notion community because I think other people like me allowed things to get too complex and found that their Notion system was actually slowing them down. I now prefer to limit myself and work within the constraints of smaller apps that don't have features that lure me into spending hours and hours trying to implement them into my workflow. Yes, there are things that I miss from Notion and from using ClickUp and Todoist. But I found a lot of freedom in simplifying my setup and making it easier for me to get in and out of these tools and not have to live in them all day long. So in the past, I've made a lot of productivity content on this channel, and that's not necessarily what this channel is going to be about. I have a tech-related channel where I talk a lot about mobile tech, and productivity is also going to become a part of that. So if you're interested in following along on my tech journey, make sure to subscribe to that channel. I'll link to it down below. But thanks so much for watching this video all the way through. But I also have a link to my newsletter down below. I try to post once a week to that and include information on different videos that I'm putting out, different things that I'm exploring, and areas of personal growth. I'd love to see you over there also. But that's going to do it for this video. Thanks so much for being here, and we'll see you in the next one.